From the Podcast Detroit studios and Zoom everywhere else, The Making of Champions. Professional boxers inspiring amateur athletes to become champions. Presented by Joe Louis, champion of them all bourbon and bigger than life entertainment. In association with USA Boxing, Golden Gloves of America, the producers of MAC Boxing, Making a Champion series, and BigFightWeekend.com. Join your hosts, Tanya Cole and Marquise Johns, with special guests from around the world of amateur and pro boxing, celebrating the legacy of Joe Louis, whose status as the first African-American national hero showed the importance of being a leader and a role model inside and outside of the ring.
Welcome to The Making of Champions. Tonight we have with us Marquise Johns from Big Fight Weekend. Marquise, who do we have with us tonight?
Hi, Tanya. Hey, today on the show we have an undefeated super lightweight prospect. He is 19-0 with 11 wins by way of knockout. He is currently scheduled to face Cyril Matias on October 10th on Showtime Championship Boxing in the Mohegan Sun Fight Spear up in Connecticut. We are joined by Malik Hawkins. Iceman, how you doing today, sir?
What's going on?
Pretty good, man. Hey, first things first, before we talk about your fight with Matias, let me walk me back with your last fight you had last December against Darwin Price at the State Farm Center in Atlanta on the Showtime undercard of Gervonta Davis and Yildiz Gamboa. How do you feel about that fight that you had going into it?
I just felt as though I was more anxious, than anything. I was fighting on a big card, fighting in front of all my fans and everything like that. And I really just wanted to go in there, put on a real good performance.
I would say this is Price's best round, Gray. Wouldn't you agree?
He's looking exceptional, but back comes a right hand for Hawkins. He has Price stunned. That big shot landed, and Price might be in trouble.
And you said, do you think Hawkins is looking for the one shot? Well, he landed the one shot.
But as the fight was going on, I kind of felt like I was getting away from my game plan for real. But once I really settled down, and really started listening to my corner, the game plan fell in place.
Absolutely.
Very good right hand that was set up from the jab, and now the legs. Oh my, a little bit of leg injury. Price is getting teed off on by Malik Hawkins. It looks like Price has a leg injury, but Hawkins is taking control and is swarming Hawkins. Swarming Price.
Why isn't Price holding?
Price with his back on the ropes.
Why did the referee break them?
And he's saying there's a leg injury. Time is being called. Price can move.
We saw this with Korobov.
Actually, want me back on the atmosphere about that, Tanya. Not think because you weren't there, but I was there with it. And there was a solid, once the main event showed up, about solid 13,000 folks at the State Farm Center for this fight. It was a lot of people there. And it is funny because usually you don't look at that in terms of atmosphere-wise. When you see crowds that big in fights that you're not used to seeing, especially when you're seeing fight cards that I've been to fight cards where there's been 20 people, there's been a custodian in the background just mopping up, and this one had 13,000 folks. So explain to me your nervousness about that, and how do you anticipate it?
To be honest, I wasn't really nervous. I was just, more anxious because, I had everybody from my hometown there and everything like that. But as far as nervousness, as far as being nervous, I wasn't nervous.
Gotcha.
All my coaches, they built this for this.
Yeah.
Well, you said about this upcoming fight, you said now without the audience, all you're going to hear are the punches. How do you think that is going to affect this upcoming fight of yours?
I mean, it's really not. To be honest, I look at this upcoming fight. It's kind of it's gonna be live, but it's gonna feel like a live sparring match for real.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
In fact, with this fight upcoming against Matias, before you have this fight coming up, you were scheduled back in February to face Keith Hunter, but you had to pull out because of injury. Just walking back, is that a fight that's going to be possibly happen coming down the line by chance?
Yeah, I definitely, I can see the fight happening, but it's going to happen, on my own terms and everything like that, because he's not ranked higher than me. He doesn't have a belt. He doesn't have anything that I need. If anything, he's begging to fight me. So I'm,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? So it's no need for me to fight him right now. I fight for money or ranking, or if you got a belt.
I think we need to go to a quick break, and then we'll find out what he's going to fight for when we come back. Now we're back. Marquise, can you set the stage for us for this upcoming fight?
Absolutely. Malik is facing Serial Matias. People know Matias for one of two things. I personally know him because there's a YouTube video of him knocking out Brendan Prescott that was impressive.
Temporal, el colombiano, muy fuerte. Vuelve con un opercito corto. Subir, oh, ¿qué pasó ahí? Al cuerpo y es caída.
Secondly, he was also known as the man who faced Maximum Dadashev in his last fight when the unfortunate events of that happening going on. Set the stage for Malik. Going into this fight, you're not a toe-to-toe guy like Dadashev, so I'm guessing you're not going to be doing anything along those lines facing Matias.
I can do that, but one thing I was always taught is if I stand toe-to-toe with somebody and I could risk, you know, being hurt for a couple weeks or months and everything like that, I need to be going to the bank afterwards.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. I mean, I can bang if I need to, and I can box if I need to. But in this fight, I feel I'm just need to be sharp, you know, be precise, and be smart defensive wise too.
Marquise, now can you be a little bit more specific about what happened in that Dadashev fight?
Absolutely. Back on July 19th last year that happened in that fight, the co-main event, Serial Matias faced Maxim Dadashev, and the fight was stopped in the 11th round due to pretty much his corner stopping it due to what happened after the fact. What happened afterwards is that he tragically passed away shortly after because of brain damage from too many blows to the head and just taking too much punishment. Obviously, that's something that's unfortunate, and it's really a very sad situation because it doesn't happen on the grand scheme of things in that grand of a scale that often in boxing. It was really a sad event in terms of that. But the one thing about that event that I realized, and it's one thing I wanted to ask you about this, Malik, as well. Does anything like that in your mind ever happen when you think about that in your mind, back of your mind, that this could be the last fight when you step into the ring?
I mean, yeah, of course. You know, that thought always comes across my mind. But, you know, this is what I grew up doing. So, I mean, it comes with the territory. You know, some days you're going to feel like you don't want to do anything. And some days you're going to want to. But that's what we do.
I think one thing that Matias said, he says, no one is prepared to die while looking for your dreams and your goals. You know, supposedly he has a massive power advantage against you because he has a 100% knockout percentage compared to your 61% knockout, percentage. How are you prepared for this particular match? Because when he comes into the ring, he's prepared to knock you out.
I mean, I don't really pay attention, you know, to anybody knockout ratio and everything like that. I mean, everybody that's in this sport, they got knockouts. Yeah. Everyone. It don't matter if you just got one or you have 20.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter but you got knockouts. And to be honest, I look at the type of people that he fought, you know, and he hasn't faced anybody that's like me. Cause I can do both. I can box and I can bang, and I'm smart defensive wise. And I definitely know that he doesn't have a better IQ than me.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed some quotes out of Puerto Rico. They're saying that you're tall, long range, you know how to use your distance, you have good defense, and a respectable stick. They said Hawkins is not going to be a walk in the park.
Yeah, I'm definitely not.
Yeah, this scouting report that Tanya just read from those guys out of Puerto Rico, saying that you have a respectable stick. Is that a fair assessment of you, or do you think you're better than that?
Man, it's kind of both.
Whatever.
Kind of both. Yeah. It doesn't really. You know, I don't really pay attention to what nobody say, bro. I know what I can do, so it is what it is.
Absolutely. In fact, funny you mentioned that, by the way. You don't pay too much attention to it because on your Twitter this morning, you had a great quote of you working out saying, "Disconnect all distractions." Is that just the way you do just to tune things out in general as you prepare for fights?
Yep. You know, we turn away. You know, staying away from a lot of you know, a lot of things. You know that can bring a fighter down. You know, staying away from you know, some family members. You know, just total. You know, distance yourself from everything. Everything that you do every day. You know, take that away. And you lock in mentally and physically.
All right. Yeah. Speaking of that mentally, I heard from you actually on another show a couple of weeks back. You were speaking with the guys at On the Ropes. They mentioned that you were training out in Omaha. You was out there with the Bomac gang with Terrence Crawford, Jamel Herring, and the gang. Tell me, walk me through that experience.
Oh, that was a wonderful experience. You know, being out there with a bunch of world champions. You know, seeing how they train. Seeing how everything they do is on time and everything like that is never one person that's ever too far behind, you know, as far as training and everything like that, you know, the spawn, you know, just all around and basically like they treated us like family.
Oh, that's awesome. Also, but now off the record, did Terrence Crawford get you on the roller coaster like everybody else he does and try to scare everybody? You've seen those videos, haven't you?
No.
All right. So also, take it as a no.
No. Also, just training up for it as well. I'm also now on a rope show. You mentioned that you were training in Philadelphia as you prepare for this fight. The one thing in Philadelphia that I know is out that way is Jaron Buditz Ennis, who's also an upcoming prospect as well. How are you looking forward to training with those guys up there?
Oh, it was wonderful. You know, I was up there, you know, training with him, sparring with him, and everything like that. And I definitely see Jaron Ennis being a future world champion. I definitely see him being a future world champion. You know, just seeing how he trained, just seeing how his work ethic and everything like that is unbelievable.
I want you to dig in a little deeper on that, because one thing you did say in that same On the Ropes interview was all champions work together. What does that mean to you?
I mean, what I mean by that is iron sharpens iron and everything like that. And if you want to be great, you got to be around greatness. So you can't be great by sparring someone that's less better than you, because only thing you're gonna do is you're gonna help them, but they're not gonna help you. So you need to be around somebody that's probably equal as great as you, or someone that's greater than you.
We're going to take a little break. So more with Malik Hawkins when the Making of Champions on Joe Louis Bourbon and Podcast Detroit returns after this.
Be Joe Louis. 3 simple words to empower the legacy of Joe Louis to inspire a new generation of champions. What does it take to become champions, leaders, future heroes? Joe Louis was the hero America needed then.
He fought for a nation. Schmeling was the Goliath. Lewis was the David. Probably the only time in history of America that a black man ended up being a white hope.
This fight was the biggest fight in the history of the world.
In the middle of the 20th century, with their country in crisis, Americans found that hero among their own.
We're going to do our part, and we will win because we are on God's side.
His stage was so big that downtrodden Americans, regardless of their age or race, felt a glimmer of hope creep into their lives just by watching him. In the end, he was a common man who reached the top and brought an entire country with him.
From the Podcast Detroit studios and Zoom everywhere else, the Making of Champions. Professional boxers inspiring amateur athletes to become champions. Presented by Joe Louis, champion of them all bourbon and bigger than life entertainment. In association with USA Boxing, Golden Gloves of America, the producers of MAC Boxing, Making a Champion series, and BigFightWeekend.com. Join your hosts, Tanya Cole and Marquise Johns, with special guests from around the world of amateur and pro boxing, celebrating the legacy of Joe Louis.
So speaking of being destined to be great, I'm going to take you back a few years. You said just a week ago that I was run over and almost killed by a car at age 5. My older brother murdered at age 6. And watching all of my OGs die off over the years. First time being arrested at 14. Multiple arrests from 15 to 17. But I'm still standing. And I'm destined to be great. Tell us about growing up in Baltimore.
Oh, growing up in Baltimore, it's crazy. It's real crazy and everything like that. And you know, you see everything at an early age. You know, you see drugs, you know, murders, you know, some young kids, you know, hustling now. You know, it's just crazy. You know, and it just so happened that I went through everything. I seen everything from people getting killed on my doorstep and everything, and people that I looked up to and I cared deeply about go to jail or getting murdered in the streets. I just so happened that I made it out. I made it through it and I survived it.
How did you do that? Because you said you were born doing this. How did you make it through?
Man, I was, you know, having the right people around me, you know, having good, you know, good, strong men around me, especially a strong mother, you know, that didn't take no slack from me no matter what. And just, you know, basically just having a lot of good people around me, the people that genuinely care about me, not just looking for a handout.
I hear you. And I know you mentioned the strong men in your life, and we've talked about that before here on the Making of Champions. But you've said that your driving force in your professional career has been your mother. You said her energy as a strong woman is what has helped form you into the man that you are today. And you credit much of your success to her support. Can you tell us a little bit more about your mother?
Oh, that's my heart right there. That's my OG. That's my everything. She may get a little crazy on me sometimes, but yeah, I love my mother to death. But my mother, she just so strong. She's just a real strong black woman and everything like that. And, you know, her raising, you know, 3 kids by herself. You know, I still had my father in my life, but me living with my mother and everything, and her just getting up, going to work every day. Days she don't feel like it. Her back might hurt some days. Her feet might hurt some days. And by her still being able to do it, and with me getting in trouble and everything, she stuck by me. Then not too long ago, she came down with she had the coronavirus and everything like that, and she didn't give up. You know, even though it was some points, you know, that she wanted to, but she stood strong, like the black woman, the strong black woman she is, and she made it through.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We're blessed to have her here. Can you tell us more about that? Because from what I know, she's a frontline worker. She's one of the people that has put her life on the line every day for the rest of us to keep us safe. Can you tell us more about that?
I know she's just a nurse. That's all I really know for real. And basically like how she got it, I really don't know how she contracted it and everything like that. All I know is I came in the house and she said she wasn't feeling good, and I just thought it was just, you know, it was just a common cold and everything, because she said she was just cold for real. So I wrapped her up and everything like that. Made sure she had a refrigerator in there, so she didn't have to come downstairs. Because then she said she had shortness of breath. She couldn't taste anything. Then the worst day was the day before I took her to the hospital. She was in her room and she was just shaking, and she she said she couldn't breathe, and I just said I gotta take my mother to the hospital. And I'd be dead wrong if I let her sitting here, and I wake up the next morning and she not woke because she can't, because she dead in here. So I decided to take her to the hospital, and yeah, that's when they told us that she had corona and she had to quarantine. But she made it through, and she's back home getting better every day.
Good. Well, you know, Mama's going to be ready for that fight on the 10th in October.
Yeah,
Now,
she's more pumped than me.
Exactly. So I know that she's not going to be physically in your corner, but she's always there in your corner. What do you think she would say to you during this upcoming fight?
Basically, one thing I do know that she gonna say is tell that fighter don't hit me low, because I always in every fight I wind up getting hit low. I always get hit low. So when man, that lady crazy, man. That lady crazy. But yeah, that's definitely one thing I know she gonna say. And she might cuss the referee. She might cuss the referee out and say, "Tell him pick it up. Tell him pick it up."
Yeah, that's what she's supposed to do. That's what mamas do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marquise, I know you're stewing over there in Florida now. What are you thinking about?
Yeah, I just wanted to just follow up on this part, actually. Mentioning to bring it back with the legacy of Joe Louis and how that transpires to fighters like Malik today, who are obviously clearly fighting for his mom, fighting for greatness, fighting for a belt, as he mentioned before, fighting to stay undefeated, of course. Just wanted to bring it up back to General Malik. What do you think your future plans are after Matias? Anybody in particular you want to fight at 140, or is it a weight class you want to jump up for, or just anybody with a belt?
I want whoever got a belt, to be honest. I want whoever got a belt at 140. That's just plain and simple.
Plain and simple.
Whoever got a belt at 140, they gotta see me.
Yeah, because currently the belt's at 140. They're held with two guys, as you well know. Jose Ramirez, Josh Taylor. Obviously, you would like those two. And in the event that you can't get those two, because those guys are pretty much, let's be honest, those guys are being stationed to do fights down the line for a while. They got to stay busy stuff for stay busy stuff. Anybody else that particularly you want to fight, just in general? Nobody at all? No call outs?
No, not really. I'm not really the calling out type person for real. Yeah, that's not really my my get down for real. I ain't never been the type, to call anybody out or say this, or been the type, to talk trash about somebody over social media or anything like that. That's never been me.
Yeah.
I'm not one to spread gossip or anything like that, but I'm kind of looking behind you. And if I say the word freezer time, what does that mean to you?
It's a wrap. It's go time. It's time. It's time to, wrap them up. Dump them in the deep freezer. Time to put them.
Dump them in the deep freezer. Put them away real quick, right?
Yeah.
I think you said in this upcoming.
In fact, Malik, is that how you got your nickname, Iceman?
Say it again.
In fact, Malik, is that how you got your nickname, the Iceman?
I got my nickname Iceman from it was a rap. It was actually one of my gym mates in the gym. He started calling me Iceman from a rapper. His name was Paul Wall. And he was known for his grill.
Paul Wall, mouth spinning like a crystal ball. I got you.
And he used to say I used to look like him. And he,
that's
he said
messed
I
up.
used to look like him.
So if I say Ice Baby, Little Iceman, what does that mean?
I heard it all before. I heard it all before. Ice Baby. I heard people that said so much crazy stuff to me pertaining to ice. They didn't call me Snowflake. They called me everything. It don't matter. I got a snowflake tattooed on my neck, so I can't get mad.
Oh,
I got you. But your mom posted about a gender reveal on July 12th. Do you have a little Iceman in the making?
Yeah. But I don't. But to be honest, I really don't. I'm gonna be honest. I really don't. I don't want my son boxing doing this sport. But if he
I got
want to
you.
do it, I'm not
Follow
going
the
to tell him
footsteps.
no.
Okay.
I ain't going to tell him no.
Okay.
Yeah. But to be honest, I'm not going to force him on it. I'm not trying to, have a legacy of, a father-son legacy of me being a boxer and him being a boxer. No, I want my son to choose his own path.
Have you thought of any names yet?
Yeah. His name is Zayed Malik Hawkins.
Oh, I love that. I love that. All right, Marquise,
Yes.
what you got? What you got? You awful quiet over there.
Yeah, I got a couple of questions for you, Malik. I know you follow basketball because I follow you on social media. Who do you got winning these finals this year?
Yeah. I know one thing. It ain't gonna be
personally,
the
man. It ain't gonna be
Trailblazers.
Portland. That's who I had going, and me and Charles Barkley look like absolute idiots right now. So
It ain't gonna be Portland. I know that for a fact. It ain't gonna be Portland. I don't know. I heard. Matter of fact, it might be the Lakers. It might be the Lakers this year. It might be.
it's possible.
It might be.
That's just one of those things where it's like, because the way this whole thing is up with that whole basketball season, it's just strange where it's like, it's going to be similar to the atmosphere that you're going to be facing per se with no, as you mentioned before, with no sparring and whatnot. But can you compare to any previous fight where you had a fight with no fans, like when you're beginning fights?
No. Every fight I had, I always had fans in it.
Oh man,
it was always fans in it.
Yeah, because as you know, once you saw it on October 10th, man, it's pretty much going to just be you, the Showtime Championship banner, and a couple of lights.
I mean, it's going like I said, it's going to be a live sparring match instead of just real.
Yeah,
that's all.
That's fair.
Okay, so all the Iceman really wants to do is be able to go to the bank after the fight, whatever fight it's going to be.
Yeah, if I'm in there and I'm banging toe to toe, I need to be going to the bank afterwards. So
exactly. Well, I know that you just signed on with like Mayweather, right? Production September of last year, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay, so how does that feel? Being that you're with Money Mayweather, what does that feel?
They've been wonderful.
Like? Okay.
Signing with Mayweather Promotion, they've been tremendous. They call me every day. They putting me in the right fights. Fights that I need. That's going to help me. That's helping me grow in the sport. And basically that's getting me the experience that I need. To get ready for that world title. And basically we taking our time. We taking our time for real.
Right. So I want to thank you so much, Malik, for joining us tonight. Any final words from the man that's cold as ice?
My name? Oh, okay, let's talk. My name, Big Freezer. Don't play with me. Don't play with him. That boy is not nothing to be played with. October 10th, make sure y'all tune in. Showtime. Man, I'm going up against Sabril, whatever his last name is. I really don't know how to say his last name.
It doesn't matter, right? Okay.
I got
Matthias,
but yeah.
Said his first name right. But we going up. It's up there and it's stuck there. Make sure y'all tune in.
Yeah.
Support me. I fight for y'all. And yeah, Baltimore, we on the map.
Okay, so we're going to be watching. We want to support you, but how can we find you on social media?
Oh, you can add me on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram at IamFreezeTime. Follow me on Twitter at Malik Hawkins 20. And yeah, that's it.
Okay. Marquise, how can we find you with the Big Fight Weekend?
As always, you can find me at BigFightWeekend.com with my news stories and boxing news and notes. You can find me on Twitter at Weak Sauce Radio.
Gotcha. And of course, you'll find me here on The Making of Champions with Joe Louis Bourbon. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Be Joe Louis. 3 simple words to empower the legacy of Joe Louis to inspire a new generation of champions. What does it take to become champions, leaders, future heroes? Joe Louis was the hero America needed then.
He fought for a nation. Schmeling was the Goliath. Lewis was the David.
Probably the only time in history of America that a black man ended up being a white hope. This fight was the biggest fight in the history of the world.
In the middle of the 20th century, with their country in crisis, Americans found that hero among their own.
We're going to do our part, and we will win because we are on God's side.
His stage was so big that downtrodden Americans, regardless of their age or race, felt a glimmer of hope creep into their lives just by watching him. In the end, he was a common man who reached the top and brought an entire country with him.
From the Podcast Detroit studios and Zoom everywhere else, The Making of Champions. Professional boxers inspiring amateur athletes to become champions. Presented by Joe Louis, champion of them all bourbon and bigger than life entertainment. In association with USA Boxing, Golden Gloves of America, the producers of MAC Boxing, Making a Champion series, and BigFightWeekend.com. Join your hosts, Tanya Cole and Marquise Johns, with special guests from around the world of amateur and pro boxing, celebrating the legacy of Joe Louis.